to wait! Hey, what is up everyone? Today I'm taking a look at this right here, the new high-grade After Colony Deathscythe. As usual, this video right here would not have been possible without those awesome people over at HOBBYLINK Japan, so if you want one of your own, or for any of your hobby needs, link in the description. Now this is what I'm talking about right here. The TV version of Gundam Deathscythe from Gundam WIng. This is one badass design, undeniably one of the darkest, coolest Gundams around. And hey, it rocks a big beam scythe. What is not to like? Well, besides the fact that there is no master grade version of the TV Deathscythe, but that's all I'm gonna complain about that. So far the HG After Colony line has been great. I reviewed the standard TV version of WIng a long time ago. I do not have it anymore sadly, but I still do have my high-grade Sandrock, my high-grade Heavy Arms, the Leos, Maganak, Mercurius, Vegeta, and of course the Geminis and Geminis Unit 2. All of these have been awesome so far. This kit right here is based on pretty much the same frame we would have seen with the last couple of standard releases, and honestly, once again, this was a very enjoyable build. It's very simple, there isn't a whole host of parts really in here. Just snip it out, snap together, and you've got yourself a great looking kit. I will mention right out of the box, it does look a little bit on the plain side, as you can see right here. So I just did a little bit of a rough, dirty panel line, a little bit of brown on the chest and up on the V-fin antenna, and I also made sure to cut off the safety nubs on the V-fin antenna as well. I'll also mention a little bit of a tip if you are building a kit like this that has tiny little verniers like these ones right here. I recommend grabbing yourself a simple toothpick, sticking it through those verniers, snipping it off attached to the toothpick, and then you can snip off the parts from there, clean it up from there, and it makes your life a whole lot easier. Nothing falls on the ground, nothing fiddly in your fingers, and it just, well, makes things simpler. I will also mention, in a really weird twist of, I don't know, fate or what, my god hand nipper broke when I was building this. I don't know if you know, but the artist who made the manga Berserk and a whole bunch of other things, Kentaro Miura, actually passed away sometime last week, and I think this is odd, very odd. God hand breaking just after that. I will mention, you may have seen on here already, that I did do a bit of a custom Iron-Blooded Orphans frame based off of Guts from Berserk. That will come up sometime next week, maybe a little bit after that, depends on the time I get to putting in some battle damage and whatnot. This is what it looks like so far, in case you're curious. If you're wondering, this is not the Dantalian custom I said that I would make, but it is using some of the leftover parts I didn't use from Dantalian, so you can kind of guess what I did or didn't use from there. But again, very weird. Anyway, let's get right on into it. So anyway, jumping right on into absolutely everything that we get in the box, and that of course is the high-grade Deathscythe itself, the scythe as well as two different beam effects for using with that, a stored variant of the scythe, the shield as well as a beam effect for using with that, and 4 alternate hands as well as the 2 already attached. Now let's check out that Deathscythe itself. So anyway, there is the high-grade After Colony Gundam Deathscythe out of the box, snapped together with a little bit of rough panel lining, and that is it. I've used the included stickers, and there isn't really a lot. We've got some for on the eyes as well as the head cameras, which is usual, and the only other one that I did not use is a red V for on the crotch. So when it does come to the color accuracy on the Deathscythe right here, I have to say it's pretty damn good. The only real negative aspect, once again, is the lack of the red V on the crotch, and the shoulder Vulcans up there, those could be in grey, but besides that, this thing is phenomenal, once again, just like we've seen with this particular line. The molding is awesome, the rib-like yellow sections in its chest vents look great, the white muzzle really stands out inside of that dark navy blue, and I will mention, as is the case usually with Bandai's dark navy blue, this does show a lot of seam lines, as well as where you snip the nubs, so it's best to be careful, snip the nubs a little further away, trim the knob away with something like a blade or X-Acto knife really slowly and carefully, and you should avoid those stress marks. However, on the whole, Bandai has done an absolutely fantastic job with this, without a doubt. Anyway, busting into that full 360-degree spin, the model kit of course is on the left, and as usual I'm going to throw the art from the series up on the right, so you can compare and contrast for yourself and see whether or not you like it, if there's anything I forget to mention, and how it compares to how it should look. This has one hell of a silhouette. Once again, I always love Gunpla to have a narrow waist and big flared shoulders. Kinda has that cool jester-ish vibe that we get with the Deathscythe. We've also got those heavily armored legs, and I do think the way the color is weighted on this particular mobile suit looks quite cool. A lot of dark up top and a lot of light down bottom. The detailing on the armor on the legs really pops with a little bit of lining, and what can I say? Once again, I am impressed. It's simple, effective, and does exactly what you want it to. So now moving on to some size comparisons. There it is side by side with the recently released Sandrock. Beside the high-grade heavy arms from the same line, I'm going to mention something right here, a bit of a public service announcement warning kind of thing. Brown panliner bleeds bad, be careful. That really did used to look fairly good. I never, well, usually don't top coat kits after panelining or anything like that, or before panelining, but that brown panliner, ugh, that is not pretty. Black holds up a lot better. Next up, next to the high-grade Leo, the high-grade Maganak, and the high-grade Ares. Yeah, right. I wish. Bandai, come on, make it happen. So I did set up a couple of size comparison photo opportunity zones to kind of get mass size comparisons all together in one go. So I'm saying that I'll do this in the foreseeable future for every high-grade review coming out, but more than likely I will forget, and it will go the way of Who's That Gundam Part, Shelf Presence Test, and that Gundam Gushion Part 2 review. So I might do it a couple of times and then completely forget forever. Maybe. Mecha Gaikotsu Trivia! Where does Mecha Gaikotsu store his Gunpla? 1. In a display case. 2. In a closet. 3. In the shower. Find out the answer just after this commercial break. Are you sick of building Gunpla the old-fashioned way? Punching the parts off runners and cleaning off nubs with your tongue? Well, head on over to HOBBYLINK Japan and get yourself some tools. They've got AT field cutting box cutters, a rack for racking up all your Gundam parts, and magic chrome markers that'll chrome up the chromiest chromes you ever saw. Link down there in the description.
More content.
Hey, I'm Spooky the Neck Gremlin, and I'm letting you know that I'm taking time out from my usual hobbies of that crap over there to let you know that I hacked the Mecha Gaikotsu merch store. 10% off everything until May 31st, and then after that, it'll be gone after 5 days or something. Get on over there and buy it all now. Like this cup.
So the answer is C, in the shower. Believe it or not, I keep some of my Gunpla in a spare shower. Yeah, not the most glamorous of places. Moving on. So jumping right on back to the beginning of the review as usual, and there's absolutely everything that came in the box. So let's take a look at everything now, one by one. So first off in here we've got 6 different hands, that's 3 for each side. So these ones right here, these widespread open ones, we've seen these since Sandrock, they look extremely nice. Next up then we've got a pair of standard holding hands. That's the block type with the hole for sticking the equipment into, and they can kind of double as fists if you're a little bit desperate. Next to them we got a pair of holding hands with the thumb out. These of course came with Sandrock and its weapons, but they can be used with this, which is cool. And these are also useful just in case Duo's in a good mood and needs to flash the boys some thumbs ups. So now moving on to the weapons, and first off in here we've got the scythe, and this is quite big. The blade is huge. Attaching this into the hands is simple, it just slides on into any of the holding hands like so, very easy. The big old blade just pops in like this. Again, simple, effective holds in. And we don't just have one blade, we've got 2 of them. This one is a little bit shorter than the one right there. The business end on this is also movable, so it can go like this, so it can be like a big old spear with a super long slashing distance, and heck, this is, did I just say heck instead of hell in a Deathscythe review? This side can also be used with those thumbs up hands as well for more extended slashing pose, which looks really cool. It doesn't say necessarily to use these with this kit in the instructions, it just says use as you want, and I guess this is using them as I want. Looking good. So like I mentioned, we have 2 blades. That was the first one. Popping that off. Popping in the other one. And there we go. That one is a little bit smaller, but still nice, dynamic, and about a 2 out of 5 on the vigorous scale. So we also have a stored variant of the side. This is just one piece. I will mention it is hollow round on the other side. This you may not see when it's on. I guess we'll find out. And then this can be stored round on the back like so inside of that hole. And it seems like maybe, yeah, you can see the hollow parts from the front. So next up in here, we've got the shield. No stickers on here. This is very nicely color separated. Attaching this on is quite simple. It's just a peg into the hole. Simple as that. And this is very, very nice. We do have 2 opening segments right here in the front like this. We have some effect parts for using with this. You can pop on inside of there just like so. Looking quite good. This I might give a 2.5 on the vigorous scale. Out of 5, that is. The bottom of this is also rocking a hole as well as a peg. So you can slap that onto an action base of your choice. As long as it's got a 3mm peg, you're good to go. And what the instruction manual says about this is it's the Buster Shield. A small shield equipped on the left arm. It has a built-in thruster so that it can be ejected to perform attacks. During these attacks, the blade on the sides open and the beam blade is generated from its tip. And I didn't read it out earlier on, but what it says about the beam scythe is a melee combat armament, which is the main weapon of the Gundam Deathscythe. It generates a sickle-shaped beam from the tip of its scythe. It has a wide attack range and is powerful enough to slice all 06 MS Leo units in half. The angle of its beam generator can also be changed to be used as a spear. So now moving on to the build and the articulation of the Deathscythe right here, and build-wise this is solid as you'd expect from these kits. They're very simple, which makes them very robust, and so far I've had absolutely no issues with this falling out of a pose or losing any parts. Let's pose it. So today again I'm going to be doing test poses as opposed to going through all the individual articulations, so let me guys know what you think about that, or do you want me to go back to the old way of every single joint? Anyway, what we're doing first off is a crouch, and whoa! The Deathscythe kills it here, it really does. It's got some of the coolest looking Gundam legs I've ever seen. We've got a whole lot going on, and it's extremely, extremely natural looking. As for what is going on, we've got the same waist gimmick that we would have seen in the Sandrock and probably the Heavy Arms, but definitely the Sandrock, where it's kind of like a hinge inside that allows it to have a little bit more of an ab crunch. On top of that, we also have a really cool locking mechanism in the knee we're going to take a look at in a second. And the whole thing just works so well. We've got a great elbow bend on top of that. And once again, and again, and again, I've said once again multiple times, this is a killer crouch. So just to explain a couple of the things I just mentioned right there in a little bit more detail, this right here is the waist peg I'm talking about. It is attached to the rear skirting, and if you pull it forward, it lets the Deathscythe bend over like that at its waist, which is a really cool little extra. I think the same was, like I said, in the Sandrock, and what you get out of that is there he is attached, and that allows him to bend forward ever so nicely. As for the rockin' lockin' knee next, so usually we just get 1 point of bend like this, which isn't so bad, but we do have a cool locking mechanism in the awesome looking knee armor. So basically what happens is you pluck that out, that little bit of a recess there is where it locks into, and now you've got a second joint in there, making this a double jointed bending knee, giving you even more. I'm not sure how clear this is to see if I can angle the light the right way, might be a bit bright there. But there is a nice looking piston inside of that too, making sure it does look nice. So anyway, moving on to test pose number 2, and that is the side lunge. I didn't get a full regular side lunge out of this for a multitude of reasons, but what I did get was this really dynamic looking kind of sliding pose. So one negative aspect, I guess, is the fact that the ankle pivot could be a little bit better. I could not get this flat on the ground. One cool aspect is the fact that we do have a toe bend, so the leg towards the front kind of is bending in a really dynamic way that looks like it's got weight and momentum. And the whole thing has a cool kind of S shape to the body with that nice moving ab crunch aspect too. This is a dynamic, awesome kit. So the next pose then is the jumping jack to see how far I can get those legs up, how far I can get those arms up, and this is what we get. So we've got the full splits without a single doubt. and at the shoulders the arms could raise up a little bit more than this, I feel. Well, you can't really get the full T-pose, but that is because the verniers up in the shoulders are clashing with the arm armor. It does say that it does this in the instructions and to angle the verniers inwards to get as much as you can, but this is the limit, and still I guess it's not too bad. As for some aspects that were not mentioned in those poses, we do have a full rotating upper leg, but it will get blocked by that front lip on the armor. We've also got a full toe bend down the way, which is also awesome, but the neck on here is incredibly limited in most directions, which is not awesome. But on the whole, all I can say is the articulation on the Deathscythe right here is really good, and with its simple, rock-solid build, this is a whole lot of fun to pose. So I'll put some extra poses right now in the verdict. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and just like I said with the HG Sandrock and the HG Heavy Arms, the high-grade Deathscythe right here is gold tier without a doubt. So that means, for me, this is better than I would expect from a standard high grade. And the reasons for that is, well, let's go through the aspects that I always talk about. Aesthetics-wise, this thing is beautiful. Besides a couple of non-colored parts like the V on the crotch and the guns in the chest, this thing is pretty much 100% color accurate. The proportions look great, the detailing looks great too. You will need to panel-line the legs to bring out that detail, but otherwise looks fantastic. The accessories are great. We've got the Buster Shield and the scythe with effect parts for both. We've got extra hands in here. It would have been nice to see some fists, but I can't complain. We've got widespread, and we've got some extended holding ones for some awesome slashes. And then when we get to the articulation, we get everything we'd want out of this, except a couple of aspects. The neck could be a little bit better, and same with the ankles, but besides that, this thing rocks some great articulation, and it is as solid as a rock. If you love Dark Gundams, if you love Gundam WIng, and you love Gundam Deathscythe, I highly recommend this, just like I did with the Heavy Arms and the Sandrock. I will mention that we do have a TV version of the real grade Wing coming up soon. Make sure to come back for that review. And I'm hoping Wu Fei actually gets a little bit of love. He's always forgotten about, always left in the dirt, always left behind. And we need that TV accurate Shenlong now. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews. And of course, I'll see you next time. As always, I cannot finish this video without thanking each and every one of you guys, including you watching right now. This would not be possible without you, as well as those of you helping out over on the channel memberships and on Patreon, including Craig Jerry, Tyler Sanders, Sean T, Caleb Engelhart, Brian Perez, and Van Fawn.